I won't be doing much of talking, much of talking. I think we go more into reading of the Word of God. I would like to start with Genesis chapter 18, verses 16 to 19. If anybody is there, please help me to read.
Genesis 18.
18, 16 to 19.
Then the men got up from their meal and started on towards Sodom. Abram went with them part of the way. Should I hide my plans from Abram? The Lord asked. For Abram will become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. I have singled him out so that he will direct his sons and their family to keep the way of the Lord and do what is right and just. Then I will do for him all that I have promised.
Thank you, sir. Praise the Lord. If you want a title for this short word, I would say it's agreement or covenant. I would read Genesis 21, verses 22 to 33. At the time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. Now swear to me here before God that you will not deal falsely with me, or my children, or my descendants. Show to me that the country where you are living as an alien, the same kindness I have shown to you. Abraham said, I swear it. Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. But Abimelech said, I don't know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I heard about it only today. So Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a treaty. Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs from the flock, and Abimelech asked Abraham, What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs you have set apart by themselves? He replied, Accept these 7 lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug this well. So that place is called Beersheba, because the 2 men swore an oath there. After the treaty had been made at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, returned to the land of the Philistines. Verse 33. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called upon the name of the Lord, the eternal God. Some translations called it the everlasting God. That was an agreement between men. I would like us to go to 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 1 to 5. We're going to travel around a lot. Please just bear with me and please follow me. Verses 1 to 5.
And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking to Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was met with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own son. And Saul took him that day, and would let him go from to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own son. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him, and gave it to David, and he family even to his sword, to his bow, and to his spear. And David went out with whoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul sent him over the men of war, and he accepted his side for the people, and also instead of Saul and Samuel.
Thank you very much, man. we will see here that a friendship was formed between Jonathan and David. Jonathan loved David so much, and it was the feeling was mutual, and they made a covenant. A friendship was forged in this place. If you go further down in that same chapter, to verse 28 and 29, when Saul realized that the Lord was with David and his daughter Michal loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him, and he remained his enemy the rest of his days. All right, I will take us a little bit back. Before the time, the first passage that my sister read, David had killed Goliath and he became popular in town. Of course, before that time, God had anointed him to become king of Israel. So as part of what he has done, killing Goliath and things like that, we realize that Saul tried to empower him, tried to encourage him, tried to give him gifts, to reward him basically for what he had done. And part of which was to give him his daughter to marry, Michal. But after some time, with the popularity and the women singing and things like that, Saul became jealous of the whole thing and became funny about it, like, what's going on? Before we know what's going on, the people in this country will love this man more than I do, and then I will become irrelevant. So he started hate. This hatred began at this point in time. So, but because of this friendship, this covenant between David and Jonathan, Jonathan started to advocate on David's behalf. Someone he loved, someone they had an understanding, someone they had an agreement of friendship. And if we go into chapter 19, verses 1 to 7, Saul told his son Jonathan and all their attendants to kill David. But Jonathan was very fond of David and warned him, "My father, Saul, is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into the hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I will speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out." Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father and said to him, "Let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you, and what he has done has benefited you greatly. He took his life in his hands when he killed the Philistine. The Lord won a great victory for all Israel, and you saw it and were glad. Why then would you do wrong to an innocent man like David by killing him for no reason?" Saul listened to Jonathan and took this oath: "As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death." So Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation. He brought him to Saul, and David was with Saul as before. But that graduated in chapter 20, verses 1 to 4. Then David fled from Naoth at Ramah and went to Jonathan and asked, "What have I done? What is my crime? How have I wronged your father that is trying to take my life?" "Never," Jonathan replied. "You are not going to die. Look, my father doesn't do anything great or small without confiding in me. Why would he hide this from me? It is not so." But David took an oath and said, "Your father knows very well that I have found favor in your eyes." And he has said to himself, "Jonathan must not know this, or he will be grieved. Yet, as surely as the Lord lives, and as you live, there is only a step between me and death." Jonathan said to David, "Whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you." What has happened is that after the whole conversation with Jonathan, "Oh, we're not going to kill him, he's fine, he's good to go," there were plots to kill David. And David saw this, and he came back to his friend, whom they've had an understanding, an agreement, to say, "Come, you and I are friends. what have I done to your dad that he wants to kill me? And he was like, oh, my dad will not do that. My dad will confide in me in anything that he does before he does them. But he said to him, your dad already knows that you are a friend, a good friend of mine, and he's not going to want to make you unhappy in any way, and so by telling you and things like that. If we go further down, so in verse 12 of chapter 20, Jonathan said to David, by the Lord, the God of Israel, I will surely sound out my father by this time, the day after tomorrow. If he is favorably disposed towards you, will I not send you word and let you know? But if my father is inclined to harm you, may the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if I do not let you know and send you away safely. May the Lord be with you as he has been with my father. But show me unfailing kindness, like that of the Lord, as long as I live, so that I may not be killed. And do not ever cut off your kindness from my family, not even when the Lord has cut off every one of David's enemies from the face of the earth. Jonathan now made a covenant with the house of David, saying, may the Lord call David's enemies to account. And Jonathan had David reaffirm his oath out of love for him, because he loved him as he loved himself. So basically, Jonathan went ahead to speak to his father and find out, okay, this thing about this guy, it's like, you still want to kill this guy. What's going on? The dad said, oh, definitely, I still want to kill him. And Jonathan sent out the word to David to let David know. They met before he sent him away, and they made the covenant. And Jonathan was very specific, because he knew that the Lord was with David, and said, even when the Lord has dealt with all your enemies, which might include my father being your enemy, which as part of paying for the sins of the father, I may be one of them, but let your goodness stay with my family. The goodness of my family and the goodness of my family, let them be one. So, we all know the story. Afterwards, Saul and Jonathan died in battle. David became king, etc. In 2 Samuel, chapter 9, verses 1 to 8.
And David said, is there yet any that is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? And there was out of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. And when they called him to David, he said unto David, art thou Ziba? And he said, thy servant is king. And the king said, is there not yet any of the house of Saul, that I may show kindness of God unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son, which is laid on the street. And the king said unto him, where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, behold, he is in the house of Micah, the son of Amiel in Lo-debar. Then King David sent and fetched him out of the house of Micah, the son of Amiel from Lo-debar. And now, when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face and did reverence. And David said, Mephibosheth, and he answered, behold thy servant. And David said unto him, fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan their fathers, and will restore thee upon the land of Saul their father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually.
Thank you. Praise the Lord. So, in 1 Samuel 20 that we read earlier, if you remember in verse 15, Jonathan said, and do not ever cut off your kindness from my family, and not even when the Lord has cut off every one of David's enemy from the face of the earth. A covenant made with his friend, Jonathan, was extended to Jonathan's son. Even when the boy had lived as a cripple all his life, as part of escaping when he fell down, when he was being carried away to safety. That is how an example of how a man keeps covenant, keeps agreement. Now, let's go back to Genesis. Remember in Genesis 21, verse 33, we said that the Bible says that Abraham planted a tamarisk tree and he offered a sacrifice to the everlasting God. Before that, what actually happened that caused that visit from Abimelech was Abraham came into Philistine, and as a result of what people would say, or people might kill him, when he was asked about his wife, he said to them, "Oh, Sarah, she's my sister," because he was scared for his life. But apparently it was found out because the king took Sarah to be wife, and the Lord appeared to him, and apparently people within his palace were sick. As a result, the king came to him. It was basically a royal visit in a way, or presidential visit, would say. When the president and the chief of staff comes to visit you, you know you are very important. But basically, they came and they had a covenant that I won't hurt you. Take your wife. He gave him loads of gifts. Take your wife, and we won't touch you. You don't touch us. And that was it. And then, because he'd been having issues with wells that his servants have dug, and they've been taking the wells off him, they made a covenant that, okay, here, this wells belongs to me. And the king of the Philistines agreed with him, and he named the place Beersheba. Now, if we go on to Genesis 26, verses 8 to 21.
And it came to pass. You say 8 to 21?
Yes, ma'am. No, 18 to 21, sorry. Yes.
And Isaac dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father. For the Philistines had stalked them up after the death of Abraham. He called them by the names which his father had called them. Also Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found a well of running water there. 20. But the herdsman of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsman, saying, "The water is ours." So he called the name of the well Esek, because they quarreled with him. 21. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one also. So he called it Sitnah.
Thank you very much. So, the same issue the dad had, it was started having with wells. But even if I go a step further, reading from the same chapter, verses 1 to 11, we realize that the same issue the dad had, who is this lady who's your wife? She's my sister. And people saw him, or the king saw him in a very compromising position with the woman. How could you call this woman your sister when you are like this with her? Oh, I was scared because I thought people would kill me. The same issue the father went through. So, if we now move on from verse 26 to 31 of Genesis chapter 26. Meanwhile, Abimelech had come to him from Gerar with Hauzat, his personal advisor, and Phicol, the commander of his forces. Isaac asked them, "Why have you come to me, since you were hostile to me and sent me away?" They answered, "We saw clearly that the Lord was with you. So we said, there ought to be a sworn agreement between us and you. Let us make a treaty with you that you will do us no harm, just as we did not molest you, but always treated you well and sent you away in peace. And now you are blessed by the Lord." Isaac then made a feast for them, and they ate and drank. Early in the morning, the men swore an oath to each other. Then Isaac sent them on their way, and they left him in peace. The day Isaac's servants came and told him about, that day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well they had dug. They said, "We found water." He called it Sheba. And to this day, the name of the town is called Beersheba. What we read earlier, where we stopped at verse 21, if I just read verse 22 there, after the Sidna, which he named enmity, he moved on from there and dug another well, and no one quarreled over it. He named it Rehoboth, saying, "Now the Lord has given us room, and we will flourish in the land." So after this bit was when the king now came to have an agreement with him. And then it was Sheba as well, Beersheba. At this point, he had room, he had space, and was able to flourish. Now, if we move on to Genesis 46, please, I hope you are following me. Am I going too fast? I know it might not be coming together yet, but I know we're going to go around the block a little bit. So, Genesis 46, verses 1 to 4.
And he spread to his journey with all he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifice to the God of his father Isaac. And God spake unto Israel and said, "Jacob, Jacob." And he said, "Here I am." And he said, "I am God, the God of your father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon their eyes." And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father, and their little ones, and their wives in the wagon which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle and their goods, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt. And Jacob and all his seed remained.
Thank you very much. You've actually read everything that I was going to come back to, but that's good. Thank you very much. That's fine. We don't have to break it into two there. So, we realize that at the point where Abraham had rest, he worshipped God. He planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and he offered sacrifice to a God that he called eternal and everlasting God. At this same place in Beersheba was where his son found rest, Beersheba. His grandson got to Beersheba. After Jacob, we know the story of Jacob. He went through all sorts of things and, issues in his life. And when he got to Beersheba, where his father and his grandfather had worshipped, the same place he worshipped. And that was the last time anything bad was recorded about Jacob. That was the point where he found rest. Why? His grandfather made a covenant with an eternal God. Okay, let's jump forward. Let's use the time machine now. Jump some years forward. First Kings chapter 5. Verses 1 to 12.
And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servant to Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the name of his father, for Hiram was ever a lover of David. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, "Thou knowest how David my father would not build an house unto the name of the Lord his God, for the walls which were about him on every side, until the Lord puts them under the sole of his feet. But now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversaries nor evil occurrent. And behold, I propose to build an house unto the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord God spake unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom I will set upon thy throne in thy room, he shall build an house unto my name. Now therefore command thou that they hew me cedar trees out of Lebanon, and my servants shall be with their servants, and unto thee will I hire for thy servant, according to all that thou shalt appoint. For thou knowest that there is not among us any that can skill to hew timber like unto the Sidonians. And it came to pass when Hiram had the word of Solomon, that he rejoiced greatly and said, Blessed be the Lord this day, which has given unto David a wise son over this great thing. And Hiram said to Solomon, saying, I have considered the things which thou sentest to me, and I will do all thy desire according concerning timber of cedar and concerning timber of fir. My servant shall bring them down from Lebanon into the sea, and I will convey them by sea in floats unto the place that thou shalt appoint me, and cause them to be discharged there. And thou shalt receive them, and thou shalt accomplish my desire in giving food to my household. So Hiram gave Solomon cedar trees and fir trees according to all his desires. And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food to his household, and 20 measures of pure oil. Thus gave Solomon to Hiram year by year. And the Lord gave Solomon wisdom, as he promised him. And there were peace between Hiram and Solomon, and they two made a league together.
Thank you very much, man. Let's look at the world today. If the United Kingdom, for example, we are trying to build, what can we build now that we can consider to be the temple of God or something that would have that kind of significance? Nowadays, it's about security. Let's say they want to build a weapon or something. Now it goes to Germany. Oh, Germany, please, Michael, please, I need this particular bit. Can you people send them out to me and tell me what you want. Really, something to protect you. What if we fight? Why would I want to help you? But the Bible says here that the king of Tyre was happy because David's son that is taking reign over him is a wise man. That God has given David a wise son. There's a reason for that, because at a point, God made a covenant with David as well. But before we go there, let's see what the covenant actually meant. In 1 Kings 11, 9 to 13, the Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. Although he had forbidden Solomon to follow other gods, Solomon did not keep the Lord's command. So the Lord said to Solomon, since this is your attitude, and you have not kept my covenant and my decrees, which I have commanded you, I will most certainly tear the kingdom away from you and give it to one of your subordinates. Nevertheless, for the sake of David, your father, I will not do it during your lifetime. I will tear it out of the hand of your son. I will not tear the whole kingdom from him, but will give him one tribe for the sake of David, my servant, for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. Twice the Lord made reference to the covenant he made with David. Now, let's find out, what was this covenant? 2 Samuel chapter 7. Verses 8 to 17.
Now therefore, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thou sayest the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following sheep to the wilderness over Israel, and I was with thee whosoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of great men that I began. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Never shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore, as before time. And as since the time that I have commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thy enemies, also the Lord telleth thee that I will make thee an house. And when that days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with their fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of their bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever.
Yes, ma'am.
And I will be with his father, and he shall be my son. And if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, with the stripes of children of men, but my mercy shall not depart away from him. As I keep it from sword, one put away before thee. And thy house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee, and thy throne shall be established forever. According to all these words, and according to this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Then,
thank you. That's praise the Lord. So, the pre to this scenario was David woke up one morning and I was like, why am I sitting in a castle and the Ark of Covenant is in a tent? Let me build a house for the Ark of Covenant. But the Lord said, because he's had too many blood on his hands, if we are not looking at the wars he's fought, we can look at the person he killed, Uriah that he killed. So you have too much blood on your hands. I have prepared your son who will do that for me. So God made all this covenant just because he thought about that, and God made this covenant. And he said, your family lineage will be established forever. When your kids fall out of line, I will flog them, I will deal with them, but I will keep my covenant with you. So does the other part of Solomon's issue, does that make sense now? When God said, okay, you've done so much, I have warned you and I have warned you. However, you are not changing. This is what I will do, and this is how I will do it. All because of my covenant with my servant David, who is your father. So this is how God has been faithful in his covenant. It's in every agreement that God makes with anybody, with man. We'll see over generations that as long as the people stay within the covenant, as long as the people stay within the agreement, they are fine. God always shows through. And I want to charge us today. We'll see that when Isaac came to Beersheba, the covenant God made with his father stood. When Jacob did, the same covenant stood. And God promised Abraham, I will make him the father of many nations. Through him, I will bless many nations. And through him today, Jesus Christ came. And all of us are here today. And we are happy because we have hope, which has been brought through the lineage of Abraham. As long as we stay within the agreement of God, we are fine. Agreement of Jesus Christ, I've sent my son to die for your sins. Agreement of stay with him, stay within him. In John chapter 15 was where Jesus was giving examples to his disciples. Abide in me and I abide in you. I have called you and I have called you friends. Just stay in me and you are fine. Stay within the agreement because God is a covenant-keeping God. As long as we stay within the covenant of God, as long as we stay within the principles that has been laid down, we all have different interpretations, translations to the Bible. We all have our own reasons to think this one was said to these people and not to us nowadays. Oh, time has changed. And those days they never had this kind of issues, so that's why they said that. However, there's a spirit. When Jesus was living, he said he's going to send us the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. And within everybody, the Spirit is there to convince or convict us that what we have done is right or wrong. And as long as what we can read, we can see, we can interpret basically the covenants of God, what he has promised us as believers, what he has promised us as heirs to his kingdom through Jesus Christ, as long as we stay within this covenant, the Lord will always show up for us. And I pray that in the mighty name of Jesus, that we will always find our way to stay within the agreement of God. It might not be easy. I know it's not an easy task to, especially agreements that we're not the one that signed it. things that we've read, things that even the people that have taught us, different people have different opinions about all these things. And, to stay within such agreements, you go to a pastor today, he will tell you, oh, yes, that is okay. And that pastor will say to you, no. And I think a few weeks ago, we spoke about marriage for divorcees and things like that. I took it to another pastor that same week. And he was like, I asked him, what would you say for a young lady that just got divorced, for the husband left or whatever it is? And he said to me, like, okay, that's fine. So he shouldn't get married. I said, well, that's what the Bible says. What do you think? He asked me that, he said to me, where does the grace come in? If you say, okay, don't live, and that's what the Bible says, just follow it that way, the lady should live the rest of her life that way, where does grace come in? Paul said, if you cannot hold yourself, get married. I've gotten married because I cannot hold myself. And whatever happened now happened. Mind you, I cannot hold myself. So would you prefer this person to go about messing about? Or would you prefer the person go back into marriage? This is one topic. And you go to different people, they tell you different things about the same thing. These are agreements that it wasn't us that signed it, but we just inherited them. It's just the grace of God that can help us. And I pray that the Lord, in His infinite mercy, will help us through. That the worst case scenario, that whatever that will take us outside of the agreement, He will not let it happen to us in Jesus' name. We will not encounter any challenge that we will not be able to overcome, any test that we will not be able to overcome in Jesus' name. I hope I have been able to explain and not confuse you about what I'm trying to speak about. It's about the God of agreement, God of covenant. Our God is always faithful, and I pray that He will continually be faithful to each and every one of us in Jesus' name. Shall we bow down our heads for prayer?